Few things in life manage to rival the sheer annoyance one feels when the small cogwheel of doom appears upon one's computer screen, signaling the buffering of a video. This disrupts numerous concepts of life. Choreographed movie scenes are now disrupted, losing their fluidity. Classes are often missed, and parts of them are often misconstrued because of the internet struggles to handle basic tasks. And the speech is seemingly infinite as it may permeated with numerous pauses. And during the global pandemic, this infuriation and frustrations turned into something more serious and damaging, especially for students who rely on the internet for continuing their education, as the internet has become increasingly reliant for individuals to do schoolwork and research projects. Numerous individuals in Idaho, specifically students, lack stable internet connections. For this project, I'll be focusing on Idaho specifically for a few different reasons. First off, it's the state where most of us reside, and thus we know the most about it. But secondarily, Idaho's infrastructure, or more so lack thereof, creates a unique problem that isn't existent for most states in the country. And secondarily, I want to focus on students, as they're the future workforce of America, and specifically like Idaho. And then focusing on the internet specifically, this has a correlation to the educational quality of students. And finally, I just wouldn't have enough time to cover all the benefits to every demographic if I were to cover everything, so I limited a little bit. Which is something I found through numerous research hours into this topic, which I have done through debate for many years, which I've done in high school. The topic has come up twice, and during my 3 years of college, debate has come up roughly 6 times. Moreover, I helped coach the Blackfoot debate team, where it is actually an impact of the current topic. Moreover, I utilize the internet every day, and thus I just am genuinely intrigued by concepts of the internet, leading to just more research happening on it. So today, I'd like to invite you to connect to a web that will increase the prosperity of students' education by first contextualizing the issue at hand and demonstrating the need that takes place in the status quo. Secondarily, we'll discuss the solution to said need. And finally, we'll analyze the two worlds to visualize the impacts of the solution. However, before we can begin with the solution, we must first start with the problem, which is that Idaho students are unable to acquire stable internet connections. This is highlighted nationally and worldwide, as Learning Networks in 2020 points out a story of Kitty Stockton, a high school senior from New Jersey, where she discusses her worries revolving around poor internet access. She discusses that studying at home creates unique issues, as there's a lot of problems with staying focused. But, however, her biggest concern and greatest hurdle actually comes from the stress induced by her inability to consistently connect and maintain access to her Zoom classes. Stockton lives in an area that's very similar to Idaho and rural Idaho Pacific, where internet access is really hard to come by, which creates significant increases in stress, which harms the students' educational abilities. And this isn't just unique to New Jersey, but students everywhere worldwide experience issues and complications all the time. But why is Idaho unique? Well, there's a couple of different reasons. First, Internet Analysis Wheelwright in 2021 finds that Idaho is the third slowest internet in the nation, falling behind Montana, the slowest, by just 1 megabyte per second. Additionally, the New York Times in 2011 finds that Idaho's landscape and infrastructure makes it uniquely difficult to increase and expand broadband internet access lines, and it's because it's too expensive to do so. And additionally, the Idaho State Board of Education reports that 15% of students in Idaho lack access to a reliable internet source. And when you use enrollment data from 2020, that's around 8,008 college students. And when you use enrollment data from 2021 revolving around primary and secondary education, that's 287,288 students, culminating into a total of 295,296 students who are negatively impacted by poor access to internet, creating a massive problem in the state of Idaho. According to my survey, 100% of you have suffered similar problems, which is helpful because it just shows how much this permeates the state of Idaho, specifically around the Pocatello area. 60% of you cite slow internet is the main complication with your internet speed or your internet company, and 40% note that your internet consistently goes down when you need it most. Additionally, all of you have cited that you spend at least 5 to 6 hours daily on the internet. 100% of it you note this for work, and then 80% also additionally advocate that it's used for leisure and communications. Each of our lives are becoming increasingly intertwined in internet access, even outside of academia, making these negative consequences even more pervasive. Now, despite the dreariness of the status quo, not all hope is lost, as several solutions presented in the status quo present a form of light in the dark. A potential solution lies in applying for government aid to increase Idaho's broadband internet connections. This would solve the complication of Idaho not having enough broadband internet connections, but it's rather unlikely to occur or be successful, as the federal government has supported numerous projects to increase broadband internet in Idaho since 2011 and hasn't seen much success, as Miller in 2021 points out. Thus, a better solution is to create a virtual internet service provider that utilizes advancements in satellite technology to provide internet access to Idaho. The creation of a new internet service provider increases students' abilities to access reliable internet. A virtual internet service provider is an internet company that enters a formal agreement with an already existing provider that supplies that business with a discounted price in exchange for commissions of the product. The company will be established with an intent of providing Idaho students with faster connection speeds overall. Specifically, my company, Interstellar Net, will partner with Elon Musk's SpaceX Starlink company. The Washington Post in 2021 notes that SpaceX satellites provide unlimited 100 to 200 megabyte speeds and can even increase up to 400 megabytes. SpaceX launched 1,000 low-orbiting satellites to prevent any further disruptions. However, this technology is still expensive, as there is a one-time $500 equipment fee and individuals pay $99 a month after that. However, we will see the pricing under Interstellar Net doesn't increase exponentially, as we do get a discount on it, so we don't have to make up too much of the cost. Whilst the $500 may still remain the same for the foreseeable future, we will only be releasing the fee to $120, as we still need to try and make some form of compensation. But the cost as an investor is still relatively low. A VISP, or the virtual internet service provider, only has to respond to local complaints, whereas SpaceX will take care of all the satellite maintenance and just all the equipment maintenance in itself, but we'll just handle local complaints. Moreover, internet entrepreneur Dano in 2018 finds that the initial cost of starting one of these programs is only $25,000 to $50,000, and you can see profits in 1 to 3 years. As he further notes, Necto, a similar business, obtained $1.5 million in profit revenue in just a few years, and only charging additional $39 for the product service. With a similar infrastructure and price, we can expect to see similar results within a similar time frame. However, I do recognize the concerns that over 20% of you brought up in the survey that it's still rather expensive. However, it's sort of expensive, and that can result in a deterrence for a lot of new customers. However, this isn't a problem for two main reasons. First, let's do a minor repair on this argument. I'm talking about how just because it's expensive now, it doesn't mean it's going to always be expensive. According to Technology Reporter Grisham 2021, SpaceX is consistently working on updates to try and make the satellites and their equipment in general more cost effective. For instance, they were able to drop the price from their initial satellite from $3,000 to $1,300 in their production costs. And they've also further noted that they wish to drop it even further by making it 1/4 of its current price within the next year. Thus, just because it's expensive now doesn't mean it's always going to be expensive in the future. However, even if you don't buy that, we can still look towards maximizing it, because even if this internet is expensive, it's going to be worth it in the long run. Firstly, Idaho internet already costs between $30 to $70 a month, which doesn't account for hidden fees that often occur, installation processes, and other fees that can cause complications and just raise the price of that. Additionally, other plans barely reach a tenth of the speed that this one does. And so for a rather similar price, you're getting an exponential increase in internet speed. Secondarily, this internet speed is also unlimited, so you don't experience any overcharges for going over your limit, and multiple users can use it at once and not experience any delays in internet speed. And finally, it eliminates the problem that plagues over 290,000 students in Idaho by providing a reliable resource. And so with all those impacts, we just clearly outweigh any negative implications that could come from the harm of price. Idaho students face barriers to education that can only be eliminated with establishing a stable internet connection. Thus, I see no reason to not invest in my solution. Now, we've revealed the solution and refuted a couple claims of the opposition. Let's compare two different worlds, one where the status quo remains the same, and one where the solution is implemented. Starting off with the former. Imagine a world where the status quo remains the same. Some students may succeed. Learning returns relatively normal as hopefully classes return to in session, eliminating a lot of the complications that students have faced due to internet access. However, poor internet access still harms Idaho students. And still just harms Idaho in general. For instance, your streaming services are not going to get any better, but also the students specifically are harmed. According to Michigan State University in 2020, students with poor internet access, just in general, will almost always perform half a letter grade behind their peers who have greater internet. Which means that around 295,000 individuals still are forced to endure the subpar learning conditions that are set up by their poor internet connection services. Now, imagine a world where my solution is implemented and we increase the stable internet access to all Idaho students. We see that regardless of pandemic status, all stressors related to internet accessibility just essentially vanish. Everyone is able to eliminate that small cogwheel of doom. And finally, we see an impact to the world of academia and just an overall increase in education because the internet itself has been improving, which has numerous benefits. As educational specialist Giovetti in 2021 finds, education and increase in education are associated with decreased rates of violence at home and in society, whilst also noting that furthering education and having more individuals have access to education decreases poverty by improving the economy overall. So we can see a return investment on this happening as well. Now that we've compared two worlds, which one would you like to live in? Today, we discussed how a virtual internet service provider would grant Idaho's students abilities to have access to reliable internet and improve education by first addressing the problem that Idaho students have due to inadequate accessibility to reliable internet service. Second, we discussed a solution to this is creating a virtual internet service provider through SpaceX. And finally, we discovered a few ways advancements in education advance society by comparing two worlds. Thus, I'd like to ask, would you invest $35,000 to help establish the virtual internet service provider InterstellarNet? I will also be providing an additional $35,000 to make a cumulative $70,000 co-investment. Numerous students need this opportunity to improve their education. And you are assisting more than just the students, but just everyone in Idaho and helping eliminate that cogwheel of doom or work activities, educational activities, as well as healthcare appointments and numerous others. We're also likely to see profits just within a few years. So, most importantly, you will not just be investing in the prosperity of a company, but in the prosperity of Idaho's future.